Dom pops on a high-vis jacket to dig in and try roadside assistance here in 45 minutes. First, Kim and Ashley call out cold-hearted crooks who use love to steal.
The UK is fighting a tidal wave of romance fraud.
In the last year alone, almost 10,000 cases have been reported to the police.
It's a hugely harmful crime which can be devastating emotionally and financially, with the economic cost to the UK last year close to £100 million.
It doesn't matter if you're old or young, a man or a woman. It could happen to anyone.
The man you've been speaking to is not real.
I loved him so much.
And we are back to expose the lies and manipulation behind these heartless scammers.
We'll be uncovering the tactics of the criminals behind the scams.
It's set up to trap someone.
And following the teams that won't rest until the scammers are brought to justice.
And as ever, we'll have everything you need to know to make sure you and your money stay safe.
Who are you?
Who are you? Who are you?
Coming up, the scammer afraid to face our questions.
I think you not wanting to talk to us is actually quite cowardly. So why don't you not be a coward, pick up the phone and give me a call?
How weeks of pressure from a fraudster cost this woman her cash.
I was heartbroken. I just couldn't believe the heartlessness of it.
And the spectacular stories that just aren't adding up. Florida man saves arm after sneaky shark attack. Lucky that this wasn't worse. It's just all a big lie.
Kim, we've been contacted by someone called Susan. Now, she has been speaking to a man online that she believes is called Brook. She has recently stopped contact because she's worried that this could be a scam.
Okay.
I wasn't looking to meet anybody, I was just playing Scrabble with friends. And Brook was one of the people who I played Scrabble with. He told me that he was a widow, that he had a young child. He was Norwegian and came from Oslo. He also told me that he was a deep sea diver and it was going to be his last job because it was a good, well-paid job and it would set him up for life. He first asked for money about 3 weeks after we'd been talking, which I gave him. Part of me was saying, this is going to be fine, it's all going to work out well. And then another part of me was saying, are you kidding yourself, Susan? You know, are you that desperate you need to do this?
We've seen things like this in previous cases. From the word go, I've got my suspicions.
What would be really great for Susan, I think, is, you know, she wants to get to the bottom of it. She wants some closure.
Susan sent over all the documents, text, emails and photos related to her relationship with Brook. Time for me to start digging.
Meanwhile, I'm on my way to meet Susan.
Hello, Sue.
Hello, pleased to meet you.
You too.
A 70-year-old semi-retired accountant from Kent, Susan had been single since 2006. Initially not looking for love, Susan began playing online Scrabble during the lockdowns of late 2020.
I'll get back to you in a minute, Kat. Let me just do this text, OK?
One of the people she enjoyed playing with was 66-year-old Brook William from Oslo.
And we played Scrabble for 4 or 5 games before he asked me if I would talk to him, because there's a little box so that you can actually converse with people.
Brook began to tell Susan more about himself. As well as being a diver, he said he grew up in the United States before moving to Norway, and that he had lost his wife Elizabeth to cancer some years earlier. Their relationship started off platonic, but then blossomed into something more.
Sort of love bombed me, if you like.
Yeah.
It was nice that somebody was actually talking to me and paying me compliments, and so, yeah, I was flattered.
They played Scrabble for around 4 weeks before Brook suggested they move over to WhatsApp so they could communicate more easily.
We hadn't been on WhatsApp very long before he sent me a picture, and quite honestly, I just looked at it and I thought, God, I won't step over you. But, sorry.
Things were going really well, and Susan was enjoying the attention.
He said, I want to come and see you when I finish this job and all this, that and the other.
Did you start to develop feelings?
Yeah, I did.
But the nature of their relationship was about to change.
What happened? What was the first time he asked you to send some money to him?
He basically said that the supply boat had been over from California and he hadn't got any money to get food and things like that because the job he was doing had lasted a lot longer than what he thought it would have done, and his spare money had run out.
He asked Susan to help, and not just with food costs. Brook told Susan that he wouldn't get paid until the end of the job. But to help get the job done and come and see her in England, he needed big money.
He asked me for 20,000 to get him and his equipment back to England, because this was going to be his last ever job. He had a buyer in England to buy his equipment. I told him I didn't have 20,000 pennies, never mind 20,000 pounds.
I mean, not many people have a spare 20 grand hanging around, do they?
And then he even asked me if I could remortgage my house. And I said, no, I couldn't. And he said, well, can you look into it, or can you look into getting a loan?
Susan was cautious and not willing to part with big money, but did offer to help Brook with the food costs. But Brook continued to ask for larger sums, including £1,300 to fix his diving bell, which is a piece of equipment used to help transport deep-sea divers within the ocean. Once again, Susan refused. It was a decision that would have big consequences for their relationship.
So he said, well, don't worry. He said, we'll dive without it. And then after he had done that, he came straight back to me saying that because they hadn't got the thing to go down in, they'd been attacked by sharks. He showed me 2 dead people on the platform that had been killed by the sharks. And then him with a great big gash down there that he was trying to sew up.
What did you say when he
Well,
said?
I was just, my God, I was shocked.
Brook put the blame on Susan for not coughing up the cash to pay for the broken diving bell to be fixed. But Susan refused to accept that. Instead, she did her own research into shark attack deaths in the Pacific Ocean, but no reports came up. She challenged Brook.
He said, well, that's because what we're doing is illegal, so nobody can know about us. We've just had to throw the bodies in the sea.
Wow.
We know Susan is worried she's being scammed by Brook. Throughout the series, we've seen how law enforcement in the UK is trying to deal with the surge in romance fraud. But as many of the gangs linked to this crime are based in West Africa, I want to find out more about what the authorities are doing over there to try and shut this down. I'm speaking to Emmanuel Manti from the Economic and Organised Crime Office in Ghana to learn about what's in place to hunt down the scammers. Emmanuel, look, you've been able to prosecute cases, have you, over the past year?
We've gotten one conviction. That is something we are glad to talk about. We've also been able to repatriate some monies back to the UK.
How much?
We are looking at almost £200,000 sterling.
How many UK victims have you been able to repatriate money to?
We're looking about 10 or more.
So it's a small number, but it's progress in terms of what you've been able to do in previous years.
Exactly.
What can you continue to do to make sure that you're really beginning to get a hold on this crime of romance fraud?
So to begin with, we are looking at how we're going to deal with the various cells that are more or less the hatching point for these money laundering schemes. And 2, we're also looking at the approach of denying the scammers or the money launderers the proceeds of these crimes. And so if to a large extent we can recover these monies, it will be a great disincentive for them.
Can you tell me about how people participating in romance fraud organise themselves? Are there specialists in certain areas?
We have all kinds of skill sets that are deployed in the scheme. So some are bankers, insurance brokers. You can even have security officials even colluding and helping some of these criminals.
Security officials.
They deploy all means, even wanting to penetrate the judicial system.
So, to me, it sounds as if you've got a real challenge, because if professionals across different sectors are taking part in scams, how do you begin to track them down?
Yes, so a money laundering key is following the money. Where is the money going? Is it being used to buy cars and being brought in? You need to track all these. And so it makes the work a bit difficult, but that is what it is. And so you have to just let your best foot forward, make sure that you're on top of the activities. And these are by different skill sets and different teams that may be working on a particular victim that has been targeted.
Victims tend to think they're speaking to individuals, but that's not always the case, is it?
Many a times there's a plan. It starts with a usual conversation and then it leads into something else. So you cannot think that chatting anybody on social media is just for the fun of it. The other side may be hatching a plan which you may fall prey to. And many a times they use all kinds of schemes to lure unsuspecting victims. And the direction of our new director is to make sure that as much as possible, we deny criminals the proceeds of crime. Yeah. And so we are targeting a lot of these assets or tainted properties of these criminals. Also, conviction-wise, we hope that we'll be sending most of our cases to the court and ensure that as much as possible, we secure conviction, just to warn the public that crime does not pay.
Someone worried they might be in the middle of a crime is Susan. She'd been speaking to Brook after meeting him playing online Scrabble. She'd sent him several £1,000s when he was having difficulty with his bank account. Now, after having recovered from a horrific accident at sea, he told her he was heading for the UK via boat. But then more problems started to occur.
He came back to me saying that the boat had run out of diesel. Could I send him money for diesel? And then after that, he sent me a picture of himself with the boat.
Brook continued to ask for incremental sums of money, around £200 to £300, to cover the cost of fuel, equipment, repairs and more. By this stage, Susan had given Brook around £8,000, and the figure was continuing to rise. But there was hope on the horizon. Brook messaged to say he'd made it to France and the two would soon be able to meet up.
Presumably in between all the times he's asking you for money and help, he's still love bombing you.
Oh yeah, still ringing me and
I want to get back to you. And
yeah, and then he'd sort of start ringing me, mostly during the night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and he'd ring me 15, 20 times in an hour.
Really?
It was quite a few nights I just switched my phone totally off so that, you know, he couldn't get through to me. But he sort of wore me down, and then he played his trump card, which was his child.
During their relationship, Brook had also told Susan he had an 11-year-old son called Alex. Alex was back in Oslo, being looked after by his nanny. Whilst Brook was working overseas, he asked Susan to stay in touch with his son on his behalf.
He then gave me the email address of the nanny because I offered to contact her. So I sent her an email asking how Alex was, and she said he was in hospital, he was very ill. He had something wrong with his lungs.
The nanny said Brook had stopped sending money sometime before this, so asked Susan to pay for Alex's medical bills until Brook got home. And when Susan spoke to Brook, he also begged her to help his young son.
At this point, he kept saying to me, I need medicine that for Alex is really, really ill. And I said, well, you need to take him to a hospital. I can't afford a hospital. I told him that I didn't have the money because I didn't want him to know how much money I had. And I told him that I had to borrow the money from a friend.
Susan paid for Alex's medical bills, plus accommodation for the two. Brook then finally told her he was flying to Gatwick, where the pair would be united. But things didn't work out that simply. Brook told Susan that with the pandemic still raging, he had to isolate for 10 days at a cost of £50 per night, which again, Susan agreed to pay. She patiently waited out the isolation period before the big day arrived when she would pick Brook up from the airport.
I actually had to set off, and I'd probably driven for about an hour when I got a message from him to say, I'm not at Gatwick anymore, don't come. I'm in Leatherhead.
Brook said he had other matters to attend to first, and a few days later, Susan received a message saying good news, he'd made it to Swindon.
So he gave me the name of a boarding house that he was staying in Swindon, and I said, right, okay. And then all of a sudden, it was like, I'm not in the boarding house anymore, I'm with his friends. Because I'd actually gone to the boarding house to see if he was there.
Right.
And they'd never seen him.
With her own investigation starting to put significant holes in Brook's stories, Susan was becoming increasingly suspicious.
I said, I've had enough, I'm fed up with this. I said, you're just lying through your eye teeth. I've never told you to lie. He said, I've never ever lied to you. I said, yes, you have, loads of times.
But Brook's stories kept coming. Now he said he'd left the country for California. Whilst there, he claimed to fall ill and sent this picture of himself in hospital, asking for help to pay his medical bills. But this was the final straw for Susan, and having had enough of Brook's extraordinary bad luck, she refused to send him any more money.
Was that the point when you thought you're a liar, or did you already decide that he was...
Yeah, there's quite a few things that never added up all the way along.
But even though you knew that, were you still sending him money?
Yeah.
Just on the off chance?
Yeah, yeah. And also because in case there was this child that he had to get back to.
Yeah.
Over the course of the relationship, Susan had given Brook a total of £17,000. She knows Brook isn't who he says he is, but she wants to know who's really behind the man in the photos.
I've beaten myself up a lot about it and what I've done. And,
of course you have.
I consider myself quite an intelligent person, so how the hell did I get drawn into all that in the first place? I don't know.
What would you like us to do for you?
The thing that upsets me more than anything is the photos of the person who he used.
Yeah, who was it?
Who was it, really?
And the child as well.
Yeah, yeah. But if it just stops one or two people getting cornered into doing this, then something's been achieved.
Scammers are crafty, manipulative, and all too often capable of making even the most sensible of people make risky and dangerous decisions in the name of love. Claire Spencer from Cheshire went online looking for companionship, but soon found herself caught up in a whirlwind of lies and deceit. Professional housekeeper Claire from Cheshire had been married for 24 years before her marriage ended and she started to search for a new love.
I hated online dating. I was absolute novice. I knew nothing after, being married for so long.
Claire had been online dating for 6 years, but with no success finding a match. Then in February 2021, she was contacted by 49-year-old Jack Miller.
Suddenly got this message, hi beautiful. His pictures were, he's my type. He was attractive. I was attracted to him instantly. Who told me that he lived in the same town as me, which I thought was brilliant.
Jack told Claire that he was a building contractor for hotel resorts and was hoping to win a big contract in Cambodia.
And then all of a sudden one weekend he completely disappeared. He wasn't online, he wasn't texting or anything, which is fine, I know people are busy. But the next message I got from him, he'd sent a picture of him on a plane. And I was like, oh, okay, where did you win? Then he said, yeah, congratulations, babe, we got the contract.
Claire was delighted for Jack, and he started his 3-month contract. She kept in contact with Jack on a daily basis whilst he was working in Cambodia, but a few weeks in, he told her some things had started to go wrong.
I got a text to say, my wallet's been stolen out of my locker. He said he'd been to the police and that he'd had to pay them to investigate. He said his passport was still in the hotel room and that he still had a certain amount of money, but most of his cards, his ID for work and all that were in his wallet that were now gone. Then he said, I'm going to need money to get back and I need money for the hotel bill. I was like, oh no, please. I was praying, please don't ask me for money, please.
But Claire's prayers were not answered, and it was at this point that Jack first asked her for money.
Initially, it was £1,000 to start with. Well, I just laughed because I'm not in a position to, to lend that sort of money.
Claire was in turmoil. She was receiving a constant emotional barrage from Jack, trying to convince her to hand over the cash.
Then he asked for 500, but every time I tried to offer a solution, he'd get defensive and he was very kind of, well, can you not go and get a loan? Claire, I'm begging you. And I basically said no, and I blocked him.
However, it wasn't long before she started to doubt her decision.
Something over the weekend said, what if it is real? It's that little chimp on your shoulder, what if it is real? And the other one's going, but it's not, and you know it's not. But then thinking, well, why would somebody lie? And the proper begging. So I was 50-50, could it still be real?
Against her better judgment, Claire decided to unblock Jack to try and find out if the man she was talking to was real or not.
The message that came through was, you never stop, you blocked me, Claire, you never stop ceasing to disappoint me.
Under significant pressure, Claire decided to go ahead and pay him the £500 he had asked for.
Press the button to send that money. I sat there with that gut feeling of, why are you not trusting me? This is wrong, don't do this. It was a massive gamble, but I still did it.
With the cash sent, Claire hoped she would finally get to meet Jack.
He basically said, OK, the money's cleared. Congratulations, babe, I'm on my way home, and will you pick me up from the airport?
It looked as though Claire's decision was about to pay off, so she decided to share her good news with a close friend.
I showed the picture to my friend because I just needed to open up to somebody, who then said, oh, hang on a minute, I recognise him. Jack is actually an Italian model called Pepe Di Giorgio. I was like, oh, no, this can't be happening. Got straight on the phone to the bank. I was like, please stop that money. I sent him a message. This person that you're representing yourself isn't really you, is it? The conversation ended, and it didn't end politely.
The Italian model whose pictures were stolen is another innocent victim of the scammer. While it was too late for Claire to rescue her money, she had saved her pride and has followed up by reporting Jack to the police, the dating site and Action Fraud.
I felt numb. I was heartbroken. I just couldn't believe the heartlessness of it.
The experience means Claire has been put off online dating for life.
I'll never get caught out again, and I just want to be on my own. That's how it's got me.
Also coming to terms with the fact they've been lied to by someone they thought they loved is Susan, who was talked into giving supposed Norwegian diver Brook over £17,000. She wants to know the truth behind the man in the photos Brook sent her. Time for me to do some digging. One of Brook's most shocking claims was that whilst working, he was injured and 2 colleagues were killed in a shark attack.
After the attack by the shark, Brook sent Susan a photo of his injury. I'm going to look into that photo and see what we find.
A reverse image search allows me to see if this photo has cropped up anywhere else on the internet in the past, and immediately I get results.
I found the original photo, but it's got a different face. The photo's connected to a news article link. Gonna just see what that says. Florida man saves arm after sneaky shark attack. Lucky that this wasn't worse. Already things aren't adding up. Susan has been sent a doctored photo. I just wonder what else this person is lying about.
And it's more bad news when I look into more of Brook's photos.
Oh, here we go. This isn't good. It's coming up on so many dating sites. I am scrolling down and there are scores, if not more, dating profile accounts where this photo comes up. You've got a Marino, you've got a Zyke, you've got a David Christopher, you've got a Tyler, you've got accounts in Russia, in the US, you've got a Harrison. All of these accounts, supposedly different, but the same photo.
Whenever someone's face is being used across multiple dating profiles, it means it's likely that scammers are casting their online nets far and wide, hoping for a bite. And looking at more pictures of Brook raises more concerns.
Brook also sent Susan a photo of him standing in front of a ship. I'm looking at that photo now, and from the off, it looks completely dodgy. The lighting is all over the place, and also, you've got the London Gherkin in the background of the photo. Now, what's interesting is that at no point did Brook say to Susan he was in London.
What's more, I've seen this picture of Brook somewhere else.
I think it's quite clear that the photo with the ship has been doctored. But looking at another photo that Brook sent to Susan, where he holds up the passport, it's the same person in both photos. That is really suspect. Not only have those two photos been doctored, but the profile photo in the passport is the same as another photo that Brook sent to Susan. He's clearly using the same photos to conjure up different photos that will add to his narrative.
Another image search leads me to a video of a man who looks suspiciously like the mysterious Brook.
Vandaag laten we zien hoe het binnen 5 minuten een deel afvangt voor een energiezuinig ledpaneel.
It seems as if this is the real man in the photos. Now, Brook told Susan he's from Norway, so I'm going to look into the language here and see if it all adds up. The original language is Dutch, not Norwegian. That's a problem. Also on the video is a name, an engineer called Peter. Oh, there's a Facebook account for this Peter. Engineer based in Amsterdam. He's in a relationship with a Fabiola. This is not looking good for Susan.
Scrolling through, I can see the pictures used by the people behind the fake identity of Brook. Once again, an innocent party has been dragged into the lies of scammers.
This photo is the one used where Brook's holding the passport, and it's also the one used with him in front of the ship. It's clear to me that Brook has been taking Peter's photos, using them to dupe Susan. It's just all a big lie.
As we bring our third series to a close, we've taken a look at what some of the emerging trends are in the world of romance fraud to help you spot a would-be scammer a mile off. Many of the golden rules of steering clear of romance fraud stay the same year on year, and we'll recap some of them shortly. But first off, we wanted to talk about some things we've seen become more frequently used by the scammers we've encountered over the last 12 months.
Somebody who I thought I had a good relationship with has effectively stolen a huge sum of money from me.
First off, it's an emerging trend globally, and that's represented in the scams we see. Cryptocurrency has become something more and more people we talk to have been asked to invest in or transfer money abroad through. Mello thought she was investing in an emerging technology. The truth was rather more sinister.
We believe the website is fake, and any money that you thought you were investing in him is being stolen by scammers.
Oh my God.
Someone you've met online encouraging you to invest in cryptocurrency is a big warning sign. And if you're thinking of investing anyway, please make sure you're using a legitimate website. Another trend we've seen emerging this series is fewer scammers willing to engage in conversations on the phone or by video. Instead, more fraudsters have insisted all chats take place over text message or other messenger services.
mean, it was hard enough to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because the signal just, it's rubbish, quite frankly.
This is a huge red flag. Anyone that's interested in a real relationship should be willing to find some time to speak on the phone. And if they refuse, it would indicate that they're more interested in finance than romance.
She was saying, could you stop texting? I'm terminally ill. But he didn't stop.
It's testament to how on guard everyone has to be when they're online that this series we've seen lots of scammers going after people's money from places other than dating sites. Social media companies say they're doing what they can to cut down on fake profiles. But we've heard stories of people meeting on these sites and even, as we've just seen, playing online Scrabble.
And we played Scrabble for 4 or 5 games before he asked me if I would talk to him, because there's a little box so that you can actually converse with people.
Our advice is simple. Never send money to someone you've just met online. No matter how plausible or logical what they're saying to you may be, don't cross that red line and your money will remain safe. Another thing we've reported this series is a number of cases with clear links to the UK and the rise of UK-based romance fraud. This might mean that if you're talking to a scammer, they have a plausible sounding knowledge of the UK, which may convince you they're the real deal.
And over the next few weeks we can talk a lot more online, so have a good Sunday. Thanks a lot, bye.
Interesting, that voice though.
What, the accent?
Interesting to me because it's a different sound of voice to the ones that we've heard before. But again, we're keen to reiterate, no matter how believable what they're saying is, no matter where you met them, no matter how much you want it to be true, don't send money to someone you've never met in real life. Most important of all, whenever you're getting to know someone you've met online, whether it's through social media, gaming, or a dating site, make sure you talk to friends or family about it.
It's like you're in a pit, and by talking to someone, they're grabbing your hand and pulling you out of it.
If something or someone starts to sound too good to be true, it probably is. And sometimes it takes someone else to help you see that.
If there's anybody at home watching this that might have the slightest doubts in the mind about it, speak to someone that's cold about the situation, that doesn't have any emotional involvement.
That's all advice that would have been very useful to Susan. While playing an online word game, she struck up an online friendship with Brook William. Susan gave money to Brook incrementally, but the total amount she gave him exceeded £17,000. Unfortunately for Susan, our investigations have uncovered that she was on the end of a sophisticated scam.
We've looked into this photo. This has been doctored, it's been edited. The original is of a Florida student who was attacked by a shark and sent to hospital.
And before we even begin, Susan has a significant update.
Hello, Susan. Have you had any contact from Brook?
Yes, we had quite a long talk. Basically, he told me everything he'd already told me was a pack of lies. He wasn't Norwegian, he was Lithuanian. His name wasn't Brook William. And he told me he's not a deep-sea diver, he's a financial investor. And all my money's in Bitcoin. And one day he will meet me eyeball to eyeball and give it me back.
This conversation's just added to Susan's doubts about Brook. Can we help clear things up?
We've been looking into your case, Susan. For the sake of our investigation, we're going to call him Brook because that's how you've known him for a long time.
Yes, I want closure.
And we start with those claims that Brook can return Susan's money to her. This is a ploy we've seen all too often.
It's really common in scam cases to have what is called a recovery scam. This is when you have lost money and you think the scam is over, but then the scammer has a new story and, most importantly, offers to help you get your money back. What's really important for you to know is with recovery scams, it may be the case that your details have been sold on to other scammers.
Right, okay.
I mean, what's your take on that?
I've beaten myself up more than anybody else could over it. I just couldn't risk the fact that it was true and this child was in need.
Early on in their relationship, Brook claimed to be injured in a shark attack, during which 2 of his colleagues died. However, our investigations have found the original source of the photos Susan was sent to back up Brook's claims.
We found this original image in a newspaper of a student in Florida who was bitten by a shark and was taken to hospital. Brook has edited this image to support his cunning, disgusting lie.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Brook also sent Susan this photo of him supposedly lying in hospital. Brook's smile in the photo made Susan doubt his story, and we think she was right to be concerned.
If you look closely near his neck on this photo, Susan, you can actually see a different neck under the image of his head. The point here is someone has completely fabricated this image. Turn over the next page. This is the original of that face. Can you tell? It's exactly the same face if you have a look.
Yeah.
Another image that worried us was this picture of Brook holding a photo of Susan.
If you look at the photo closely, you can see that it's been edited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brook's head has been photoshopped on the image. And also, it's completely out of proportion with the rest of his body.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
How are you feeling at this point?
An idiot?
You're definitely not that.
Think that I'm not the only person he's done this to, whoever he is. Probably there's more than one of them working at it. I just think they're the lowest of the low to do that, especially to, you know, someone who they know is vulnerable, someone who they know doesn't have a lot of money.
It's clear Susan is aware that she has been scammed. It's now a case of giving her the information she needs in order to move on. And after some digging, I found Brook's passport online, though the original didn't belong to him and was edited to further dupe Susan.
We found this on a website where you can buy this passport template for $2,500. In other words, anyone can access this passport template if they're willing to pay the money.
After scouring the internet, we were eventually able to find the innocent man whose photographs were stolen to create the false identity of Brook, a man who has no connection with the scam or scammers.
After some searching online, we used the photos of Brook and managed to find this man. He's called Peter. He lives in the Netherlands. Now you can see on his social media page that he has open settings, which is a dream for a scammer because they have unfiltered access to photos and all the content of an individual, and they can use that. They can harvest the images to create fake profiles, which they've done in Brook's case. Yeah. Here is a video of him introducing himself and his business. You can see it's Dutch.
Vandaag laten we zien hoe binnen 5 minuten een DLL vervangt voor een energiezuinig ledpaneel. We halen het oude armatuur uit het plafond en doen dan op de teller.
All right.
I can see that that's got to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, really, but it has got to me, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
An important factor in Susan agreeing to hand over so much money was Brook's son, Alex. We've also found out the true identity of that child.
We now know that Peter has a nephew.
Right.
And the photos you thought were of Alex were, in fact, of his nephew.
Gosh.
So he's stolen this man's photos, not just of him, but of a child, to create to this narrative that's
That's
stupid.
disgusting. It is.
It's sick, isn't it?
It's sick, yeah. I've got no morals at all.
No
like
morals
that.
whatsoever.
No.
All they care about is cash. It's been a bit of a journey for you, but there is one way to end this if you're up for it.
Yeah.
That's for you to call the scammer and to give him a piece of your mind. Should we do it?
Susan's trying the number she's been using to speak to Brooke. And just when we think we aren't getting through, we get a video call back. It's Brooke, but he seems to be obscuring his identity.
Hello? I just want to talk to you. Where am I?
Yeah?
I'm with friends. I just want to talk to you, make sure you're all right.
Suspicious Susan isn't alone. Brooke has ended the call and has reverted to messaging.
You are not at home, he's put. That's why I did a video so I could see where I was.
Yeah.
Oh, it's come back. You are with the police and I saw that. So what do you want to talk about?
But text messages aren't going to cut it for me now. I want to tell this scammer what I really think of him and what he's done to Susan. So I record him a personalised voice note from Susan's account.
Hello, Brook, or whatever your name is. My name's Kim Marsh, and this is actually being recorded for broadcast on the BBC. We are fully in belief that you have created the character of Brook in order to dupe well-meaning people like Susan out of lots of money. And the game's up, mate. I think you not wanting to talk to us is actually quite cowardly. So why don't you not be a coward, pick up the phone and give me a call? Hang on, wasn't there a photo there before? Was there a photo on his profile?
It was just a rose.
He's taking it off. He's taking it off. I think he might have blocked your number now.
Time for Susan to repay the compliment.
Do not be surprised if someone else comes out of the blue in an attempt to build a relationship
Yeah.
and take your money.
Yes.
Do not send any money to anyone you meet online ever again,
No.
period.
No.
So brave of you, and no doubt allowing us to investigate your case will help so many more people.
I hope so. I hope so. You've got to get some good out of the bad, haven't you? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kim, we're seeing that the scammers are less willing to have chats on the phone, and I wonder if scammers are cottoning on to the fact that there is a concerted effort to clamp down on it by the authorities.
I absolutely believe that. They've been more reluctant to talk to us, haven't they? They've been much more reluctant to speak.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much pressure now police are putting on them, because obviously now they are treating it more like organised crime these days, so I wonder how much that's stepped up.
Going forward is history to me. It's over, it's done. I just hope that somebody else gets some sort of closure out of this, and maybe it'll stop other people doing what I did.
If you think you've been scammed in a similar way or been asked to send money to someone you're talking to online, then we'd like to hear from you. Email loveormoney@bbc.co.uk.
Details of organisations offering information and support with fraud are available at bbc.co.uk/actionline.